All right, well, it is June 7th, 2022. This is the public information workshop for the 112 West 8th Avenue property swap, proposed property swap. I see that we have two residents on right now, Mr. Withers and Trish. Is this Ms. Wubker? Hopefully I'm saying that right, as far as Trish.
Yes, Wupker.
Okay. We took this to town council in May, and they agreed as long as we notified the adjacent property owners of the potential for the 5-foot and the 20-foot, the 5-foot being on the south of West 8th Avenue and the 20-foot being on the east of or the west side of Main Street. Again, this is something that we've done in the past. We've done at least, we're working on 3, if not 4. I did have a conversation with one of your neighbors on, 1 second here. There are 2 south of you. They are at 824 Main Street. They're interested in the property swap as well. So we're starting to see the dominoes fall and seeing the linear park / pedestrian trail / corridor come all together. At this time, I can go through a quick presentation, or I'll be happy to answer any questions that any of the public may have, which I mean by either Patricia or Stephen.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Thank you, Patricia. Stephen, do you have any comments? I'll probably stay on for a couple minutes just to see if anybody else joins. But again, this is something that's consistent with what we've done in the past in order for us to obtain the railroad right away. Anything north of 7th, we're acquiring by purchase because again, the property swaps just don't make sense down there. But if you take a look at this map that I have in front of us, this is what we're looking at here is 112 8th Avenue. And then we've negotiated with the Roses, or Bob and Molly, to acquire this property. We're currently working with Eric King's attorney for the south over here. And we are working on a property swap for this property right here. So if everybody can see my cursor at 136 Main Street. So that would leave us a balance of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 additional properties. But again, as I said before, they're starting to see the dominoes fall, and they've actually seen what we're projected to place on that property, and they believe it would enhance their property values as well as the look of what is seen today. And just to give you a quick show of what it will potentially look like, again, our intent is to make this a multimodal path / landscaping / stormwater area. And this is one of the slides that was presented for the Ward Trail that's going from North Drive all the way up to Windermere Elementary School. And part of that, again, you have the bowstring bridge. But one of the telling pieces is this is what a property owner right now looks at when they look from their front doorstep onto paved Main Street. I know this isn't the case in some certain areas, especially south of 7th Avenue. And the town council and tree board have looked at various options, various concepts. And the one that pretty much won out was this concept right here. So what you'd be looking at out of your front window would be a stormwater area that would be in front of here, again, acting as a buffer. Then I have a landscaped area, and then the pedestrian trail after that. And then beyond it, you would have paved Main Street. So again, it's going to enhance the look, create a linear park feel to it. This area down here, until we have acquired all of the railroad right away, is pretty much in a phase 3 posture right now. So Stephen, Angela, do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, yes, a lot, because I have not seen any of this actual presentation before.
Sure.
My concern, of course, is what is being presented for our block, which is between 7th and 8th. where there are big trees and do we still, how do we get out onto Main Street? How will all of these people, I'm a little confused, I guess, and I may be behind here, but there will be no dirt main to drive
No,
along?
there's going to be a dirt main. That's always going to that's always going to remain. What dirt main's going to do is, okay, so what you would do is you just add 20 feet to the east of their property, and then we would shift old dirt main 20 feet to the east.
So what happens on our block?
Nothing.
It'll just stay the same. So
Yeah, everything stays the same.
Where will the multimodal go then?
If and when we acquire the balance of these properties, then we would look at funding again, something similar to what we were discussing over here. If there's existing vegetation, just like we did with the area that's north of the north property to Windermere Elementary School, is we create a tree protection plan and do a tree assessment survey. And we work with an arborist and we work with the tree board to make sure that any impacts to trees is minimal. And we can meander it so we can try to avoid as many trees as possible. So they're excited about it. They've pretty much adopted the plan at 90%. And we received about $760,000 in federal money to help fund that project, and looking for Healthy West Orange to kick in the balance of that. But we're hoping to kick that off probably at the end of this fiscal year.
Okay, I mean, I think it's a great idea overall. Clearly, when it comes to our front yard, is where I'm worried, because we need to have dirt main to be able to get down and back around and up to the roundabout.
Yeah, dirt main is not going to change.
So we'll still have, we can drive down dirt main, and then the multimodal would be a little further over. There'd be water retention, and then the multimodal, it's looking like. If that
we're trying to create it. Well, it depends on, again, what the tree outlook is, because we're trying to minimize that as much as possible, but we would take out any invasives. North of north, again, there's a lot of invasive species, and we're going to be removing those, cleaning it up. But if and when, again, we take a look at coming south of 7th, we're not looking at doing property swaps because we actually own this property. So dirt main, which you can see here in the light pink, it's not going to change. The outlook of this 40 feet here would change, but we would, again, ask all the stakeholders for their input as well. What do you have out there? What's near and dear to your heart? If you planted a tree out there 10 years, 20 years ago, or if there's something out there that we just don't know about, we'll see what we can do to hopefully maintain that.
I guess the one more comment I'd make is that the trick needs to be that we're able to screen ourselves from the multimodal, because we don't necessarily want to have to look at all these people riding their bikes down there, because we've actually planted our section there, even though, yes, it's the towns now, but we've planted it fairly densely.
When Ken Ward let us pull our utilities across there, he said, now you've got to landscape it. And that was part of our contract to him.
He wouldn't sell it to us.
No, he wouldn't sell it to us, but he said we had to landscape it, so we did. Now, my question, Robert, is south of 8th, don't all those properties have septic tanks in them?
Some do, some don't.
Yeah. Because I noticed when they built that big house down there, they didn't even plan a septic. They thought there was sewer or something down there. And I know theirs went across the street.
We would work with the property owner on meandering around their septic system, because we don't want to construct anything on top of that. But that's part of the deal with some of the people that have either well system systems or septic systems on that railroad right away. We don't want to take away from it, but it's going to be theirs to maintain. But we'll have to work with them on, again, when we create any swales or landscaping or pedestrian pathway, it would have to be around wherever their septic drain field is.
The next question is, this swap particularly is talking about narrowing 8th Street, 8th Avenue, West 8th Avenue.
Yeah, 60 feet of right of way right now. And if you take a look at the survey, their white fence is pretty much on town property. So you'd be looking at about 5 feet along the length of this area right here.
Why?
Yeah.
It balances out as far as the amount of property that we're getting versus what they're getting. So it's pretty much a even swap.
Seems a pity to narrow 8th Avenue anymore.
8th Avenue, again, you think the road's not going to change. You know, the town council has made the determination that we're going to maintain the roadways at their current widths and just improve whatever stormwater there is in those areas. So you're not going to see any major improvements on 8th Avenue.
I know at one time that property brought to the DRB a request to have a variance, and they had designed a house that was 5 foot wider than allowed. And DRB turned it down. I think the council also turned it down.
Actually, they have it right here. They approved the 2 setbacks. There was actually a request for 4 variances, one of which was creating a 3.5-story building, which they rescinded. I believe the other one was a setback for the garage in the back.
No, where the neighbor's yard juts into our yard by 5 feet.
Oh, yeah.
We requested that we have a smaller setback on that spot, and that was declined.
Yeah, you can see it right here.
The 3 house, it wasn't 3.5.
Yeah, and then you see it also on this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking for relief on that. But those 2 items were approved through the variance process.
Yeah, okay. And where is the property the town would get in exchange for that?
Right here.
Oh, so it's the okay, because I know that they don't have any septic over there at all.
I didn't have there. I have a tall hedge and some trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tall hedge is pretty much on their property. They have, again, here's the basketball court right here, and their fence jets out a little further out here. But you can see the property lines, and the 5 feet would probably be about right here. And then they have the hedgerow right here, but we're adding 20 feet to this area so they can keep their hedgerow. And we would just meander Old Germain around into our property and then down to here. And then if and when we finally get all of the properties, then we just do a straight shot all the way down. But we have, remember how many feet we have here. I think we have about 40 feet here. And then if not a little bit more, and then adding it to this 40 feet. So we're getting about 60 feet plus in order for us to do the roadway, which is about 10 foot wide to maybe 12 foot wide. And then the balance would go to, again, stormwater, linear park, and the pedestrian walkway.
Robert, there is a massive oak tree right on the corner of their property. I don't know if that's on the town right of way or their right of way.
It looks like it's on the town right away.
And so must make every effort. That's what a magnificent tree. It desperately needs to have the vines taken out of it right now. I should talk to Susan Carter about that. So that is on the town right of way. Is that correct? So
It's usually on the town right away. And again, we're doing, I think is it Green Hill, Tanya, or doing the assessments of all the trees within town property and town right away. So once we have that data, we can go ahead and create a plan of removing invasives, doing selective pruning, all sorts of stuff. But we get an actual count of every single tree that's within our right of way and actually come up with a plan of how to maintain that canopy.
Yes, sir. 3D of every tree as well, 3D diagram.
Great, great.
Well, see, this property, I don't see the problem as much as I do the 123, which I know the septic tank is over there. That's the.
Yeah, and we talked to the property owners, and that's something that we're going to be doing a walkthrough with them and see what, if any, issues there are, and if we can negotiate a swap with those issues. Again, with the Ward property, we have agreed to allow them to put their septic system in that area. But with the additions of the Rose and Fleming property, the possibility of the King property, And then again, if all the property owners agree all along this line, you know, the swale system can be a little bit less. And, you know, again, as far as the pedestrian walkway, you don't know. It could be just adding additional 3 feet to the existing sidewalk along Main Street. Again, you're really only servicing 12 to 13 homes down in the south area. So you have to do a cost benefit analysis and seeing, okay, well, who's going to use it? How many people are going to use it? Because right now there's no interconnection with anything south of Chase.
That was my next question. So there doesn't seem to be any way of going past around Chase, is there, or has that been considered?
We're working with the Healthy West Orange Alliance and the whatever the bicycle organization is on trying to find points of interconnectivity, which does include Orange County. Right now, our focus is on connecting to a COE's program, which would then get us to the West Orange Trail.
Mhm.
Just one other comment. If you'll slide it up towards our house there,
Mhm.
Robert. When we were doing the town offices, all the staff parked right in that, right there.
Mhm.
And right now, all the water goes into that area pretty much. And therefore it does not run down dirt Main Street and create dirt ditches, you know. So before we had that swale opened, we used to get a lot of water coming around the corner going into 8th Avenue. I know down where Molly is, she has a lot of water sitting in her front yard. We need to think about that, whatever we can to put swales in there to keep the water from taking the dirt down to, you know, to the pipes where we have to clean it all out. That's just a waste of effort if we can stop it all the way along the way. I know our neighbor to the south, Mr. Bobbitt, when he was there, wouldn't let him do anything in that right away. And he actually moved his mailbox out until you can see the road sort of encroaches on the town's property. He just every year move his mailbox out a foot or two. And
Yeah.
but we do need to keep Tanya from having to work every day cleaning this dirt off the roads and out of the ditches.
Yeah, and that's our intent, especially with the Rose and Fleming property. We designed something for the Ward property, and then when they came to us and said that they were interested in the property swap as well, that just gives us more area and more room to do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I was that property we're talking about on right now, they didn't get the advantage of when we tried to create a corner lot situation with the DRB, we added the word contiguous corner lots. And which means that when you have a two corner lots backing up to each other. Well, this property obviously could take advantage of some of those things we talked about, but it doesn't have a continuous, it's contiguous with a lake, so it doesn't really affect anybody if they use the same application of logic that we had for the contiguous properties.
Yeah, I mean, this additional area would assist them in them building their dream home that is not going to take away from the look and feel and charm of the town.
No. Okay.
We've seen.
Yeah, well, yeah, they brought it before too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a huge lot. So that's why I was a little kind of concerned as to why do they need to take 5 feet off 7th Avenue?
They need it for the width of the house, not for the length of the house.
Yeah.
You can have a longer house, but again, you still have to adhere to the impervious surface ratios.
Mm-hmm.
So they still have to adhere to that. So, instead of having a longer house, I think there's wanting to make sure that it was a wider house. So there's not that as much of an impact all the way through the property.
Okay.
And everything's going to have to come through planning and zoning and permitting. So we're not circumventing that process at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
Have we
else?
got input from the other people across 8th.
No.
Juan
We-
Yes, one.
and
Oh gosh.
Fiola's.
Oh, and the violas, yeah.
No,
Viola,
we gave everybody the same door hangers that you got.
Okay.
And
mhm.
nothing. So,
We haven't actually seen Mr. Fiola come out of his house since his wife died, you know.
Oh, he does. So,
He does some, but we used to see both of them a lot, and we don't see him much anymore.
yeah,
The corner, the one that we did the,
yeah, right across the street right here. I drove by it today and it just,
it's here.
I thought it was empty when I saw it, but again, this is being recorded. I don't want to make any speculation or anything like that.
He's
But
there.
Yeah, he's there.
he's there, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I see him all the time.
Do you good? Okay. 'Cause we worry about him sometimes.
Yeah.
His son used to maintain his property, and his son had a stroke and lost his vision. So we know that he's made other arrangements.
Wow, I didn't know that. I knew it. His son used to do that almost every week.
Yeah.
yes, he's over near Steve Fossum now, isn't he?
Yeah,
But yes, he lost most of his vision, the stroke after some surgery, after knee surgery, after knee surgery.
Just like mine.
Oh, wow, that's horrible.
Well,
Yeah.
again, this is being recorded as a public meeting, so I'm not sure
Okay.
how far we want to get into somebody's
No, I'm just-
medical conditions, but
Thank you, right, yeah.
any additional
But
But he's
thing,
a nice man. I just haven't seen him in a long time.
right? Anything else pertinent to the discussion tonight?
Nope.
Mhm.
All right, thank you, Angela. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Patricia. And again, this will be posted on our town Facebook page. And again, the intent is to do the property swap with what we discussed. It would be 5 feet on West 8th Avenue along the south of West 8th Avenue, which is the north of their property, and adding 20 feet to the east of their property. And then we just shift everything over 20 feet to the east. And once we have all the contiguous lots connected, then it's going to be easier for us to make that dream come true of having that pedestrian pathway. But these corners and these selective areas that we've been talking about, like with the Rose Fleming and Ward property in 1036, these are all by intersections that will help with the drainage issues that we currently see in some of those areas. So with that said, nothing further. I want to thank Mayor O'Brien for being on tonight, as well as Public Works Director Tanya L.A. Moore and Dorothy Burkhalter. So thank you all.
Thank you.